Hi there, my name is Cy McBride and this is my Crayfish and Squid post lab. I'm going to try and go through this information quick because I only have about 5 minutes to cover this all. Okay. So first things first, body symmetry. Let's go over some similarities and differences. So initially, as you can see, I've drawn a line down both. Both of these organisms display bilateral symmetry as when split from the interior end of the body, they have mirrored sides on the left and right. In addition, both of these organisms, both the crayfish and squid, have compound eyes, meaning they compound or complex eyes, meaning that each eye is composed of many individual units. In addition, both are coellomates, meaning they both have a body cavity completely lined with mesoderm. Now to get some differences, crayfish have a hard exoskeleton or a hard exterior, while squid have a hard internal shell. Another difference is crayfish have segmentation. They have, as you can see here, a head, a thorax, and an abdomen, which is, squid doesn't have that. Difference from the squid has a very large head um, with tentacles that act like modified feet, and crayfish belong to clade ectocyzoa, meaning they molt, and squid belong to clade lophotrichozoa, meaning they have that ring of tentacles around the mouth. Now let's get into our digestive systems. Okay. So both of these organisms have a complete digestive system, meaning that food enters in through the mouth, exits through the anus. Pretty straightforward. The way they kind of break down food is a little different. For example, for the crayfish, food passes through the mouth and esophagus into the cardiac stomach, which is where initial digestion begins. Remember, crayfish have teeth in their stomach, which in this cardiac stomach, which helps them grind down food. And then once those gastric teeth grind down food, it enters into the pyloric stomach for further digestion. For the squid uses its beak over here to kind of tear off pieces of food, and then it uses the radula on its tongue to grind the pieces smaller. It has salivary glands that help with initial digestion, and most digestion happens in the stomach and cecum. Ultimately, the food passes through the esophagus, travels through the liver, which is then pushed into the pancreas, into the stomach, and once again goes through the intestines, rectum, and out the anus. All right. Now we're on our circulatory and respiratory system. So crayfish, this is where we get some big differences. Crayfish have an open circulatory system, which is characterized by a lack of continuous blood vessels. Both of these organisms have gills for oxygen intake, but crayfish have gills that are textured by gill filaments to increase the surface area for oxygen absorption. Some benefits that an open circulatory provides a crayfish is it allows efficient circulation and gas exchange while requiring less energy for distribution and a lower metabolic rate, as it can directly exchange gas from the water around it, and it can directly bathe its organs by pumping blood from its heart directly to its hemosol or its body cavity. For squid, they have a closed circulatory system, meaning blood remains within blood vessels throughout circulation. This also has very large gills for oxygen intake, and a closed system benefits a squid as it allows for rapid and efficient delivery of oxygen and nutrients to tissues, and it also creates blood pressure, which allows the squid's blood to travel farther and reach more distant parts of the body with greater efficiency. This is very beneficial to the squid. As you can see, the squid is significantly larger than the crayfish and has a lot more room for blood to travel and smaller parts of the body for blood to get to. All right, and finally, our reproductive systems. All right, so for crayfish, my specific dissection was a female. So for crayfish reproduction, the testes or ovaries will be behind the heart in either gender organism. In terms of reproduction, the male has sperm ducts that lead into copulatory swimmerets, which the male uses to deliver sperm into the female's semen receptacle, beginning fertilization. The female then lays her eggs onto her tail and carries them until they hatch. For the squid, the males and females embrace one another with their tentacles. They kind of lock tentacles, and the male will use his, I'm going to butcher this, hectokydalized arm to take hold of the spermatophore, which is a sac that houses the male sperm. That is released from his penis and delivers it to the female's sperm receptacle. The female will then remove the cap of the spermatophore, and the sperm will fertilize internally the female's internalized eggs, and Fertilized eggs are then laid and typically attached to a plant or coral until they hatch. All right, and that's the end. A little over 5 minutes, but under 6 minutes. Thank you for listening.